4 parks in 4 days. My disabled body cannot handle it. We did end up going to Volcano Bay today, but I have a massive migraine, so we didn't go till much later. There really isn't much footage that we took in the end because it is a water park, and of course I wasn't very well. So this vlog is going to mainly consist of what we got up to on our final day, our travel vlog home, and stick to the very end because we're going to be answering all your travel questions about what it's like to go to Universal Orlando as a blind person, for you to be prepared for your very next trip.
Okay, so we are now in Volcano Bay. It's quite sunny at the minute. There's Sassy. Hello. Hey. So I've just asked about sea shoes because we're both wearing like sea shoes because we can't walk without shoes on, basically. And they said you can go on them on family rides if there's like an object between you and the slide. But if the slide and you're in contact with the slide, so like any sort of like racing ones or just a water slide, you can't wear them because you will get contact and you would grip and therefore you would get stuck, basically. So we shall have to take that into consideration, and if you can't walk, then you need to, without any shoes on, we need to make sure that you are aware of that before you come to Volcano Bay. So you got the big volcano, which you can see from our room. Then you can see the tube where you fall down in the volcano. Okay, so we've got the Rainforest Village, River Village, the Volcano and Wave Village. They're the 3 areas. We're by the entrance. So then you've got the body slides, the drop slides, the more drop slides. They're all in Rainforest. So I think they're like the big ones. And then the volcano, you've got Meet the Spirit of the volcano. And then you've got the Aqua Coaster in River Village, Tiki Reef. It looks like a lot of the tubes and stuff that we want to go is in the Rainforest Village. So we'll see, it's Rainforest Village lockers. So we need to go to the left, round and up. We'll have a look there. So you rent lockers for the whole day. A small one, which is over here. These small ones were $14 for the whole day. And then I think they go up by the medium. I'm not sure how that much is. But I think the family one, which is the biggest one, was like 20 plus. But you have a little wristband, which is here. It's got a little tag in it, and you just scan it, and you can get in and out of your locker all day. So if you put stuff in there, you can come back, get it when you need it, and then store stuff while you're waiting for rides. So yeah, it's a bit expensive, but if you're here for all day, then it's actually probably quite worth it. Unless you've got someone who's not going on any rides, and they can just look after your stuff. Cabana is on the left. You've got like deck chairs out front, and then they've got like 2 tiers of cabanas so you can overlook stuff. And you can leave all your stuff there. It didn't have lockers. And then you've got like people that make reservations for you as well.
I think we were here for the whole day, yeah, maybe.
You got the volcano again on the right. You've got the wave beach on the right. Got sand. People sunbathing. You see our room over there. Little room. We're now exiting East Island heads. Exits are kind of cool. Okay, so this is the accessible ramp. We have escalators, but they're closed as we're leaving. And then this is the accessible entrance, which is a ramp all the way down. And you can go to Cabana Bay and Aventura from here. But this also takes you to where the buses for the other hotels will pick you up and drop you off. So you can see on the right hand side, we've got a walkway to Cabana Bay. So Cabana Bay is the closest to Volcano Bay, which is immediately on our left behind that wall. But Aventura Hotel, the one we're staying at, is just across the road, so you just walk underneath the passageway as if you're walking to the buses, and then you just enter through the back of the pool area. So it's equally as quick. And I think Aventura is quieter, and there's more kids at Cabana Bay, so use that knowledge as you will. So the theming is quite cool. You've got lots of bamboo. That's obviously quite fast growing. Bamboo and palm trees, but the palm trees are a little bit dying because I think they had a cold snap. So they might recover, they might not. I hope they do. So yeah, you've got escalator safety, and then you've got accessible pathway. And this is the tunnel you go through. So you've got Universal for resorts and just the busway. But they've separated it, I suppose, when it's busy. But at this time, there's no one else here. So we're just walking down the wider section. So you've got transportation to parking garage on the right, theme parks on the right, ride app, pick up, so Uber, right? And then on the left you've got transportation to Universal Resorts, which is your buses. Then we're going to turn left. And this is the walkway. It's all sloped, so it's all accessible. It'll be hard if you're in a manual wheelchair.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of an incline, but not terrible.
And then as we're coming out, the Aventura Hotel that we're standing at is right here. So it's exactly the same walk, if not, it's a little bit further, but it's still very good. And then this is all accessible as well. You do have stairs here, but there is an accessible entrance as well. You turn right, and you have to use your hotel key, room key, to unlock the gate to get back in. So make sure you at least bring one if you're staying at the Aventura Hotel. And this is the entrance to the Aventura Hotel. So you go through the lobby at the Loews Sapphire Falls Hotel. And walking. Like the guest house. So this is the Loews Sapphire Falls one. Got the restaurant, water taxi and resort shuttle.
We have discovered, thanks to the kindness of other people here at Universal, that you can get the water taxi. The water taxi is in Sapphire Falls, and so where we are from Aventura is across the road. You walk through the hotel and you can get a lift down the stairs, and then you end up here at the taxi port, the water taxi port. Sadly for us though, today is meant to be a storm, so all water taxis are being docked. So we are going to walk very slowly into City Walk and have a stroll around for our last full day. I'm at the water taxi accessible point, so we're going to show you where you would get on if you were able to.
Okay, so you just follow the path along. Keep walking, keep walking. Cool, and they just have a level access ramp on the left. So instead of going down the stairs, you just go around the ramp here onto the dock, which is on the left there, going under a bridge. I wonder if they built this, or I suppose they would have built it when they like a canal. If that was already here. I keep seeing a thing like on Reddit that they're getting the Boring Company, the one that Elon Musk uses for Tesla, to try and build like an underground transit network to connect all the parks, and everyone just keeps laughing because it's Florida, so it's just wet.
Yeah.
Like it's all really wet and marshy, and it's like it's not going to work. I am now. So the walkway brings you out by Islands of Adventure. So you walk along the water front till you get to Islands of Adventure, so you don't have to go up and down the escalators where the buses are. Okay, so it brings you, so it's next to Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, and across from the plane. So there is a sign, this small alleyway here on the left, and you've got Island of Adventure on the right. So you can buy like steampunk top hats with like goggles on. You can buy jars, like cookie jars and stuff. Like actual chocolate bars, chocolate pretzels, mugs, sweets. Like gummy raspberry rings, that I like. Like a bigger mixed sour gummy worm. Swedish fish, like toppers for ice creams, chocolate, milk chocolate, peanuts, cotton candy, backpacked drinks, keychains. It's all very steampunk-esque, like pipes, gears and stuff. Fillable candy jar is $18 plus tax. Sorry, thank you. And you can get macaroons. Macaroons and little cakes.
We've come to Toothsome Chocolate Emporium and decided to get ourselves some milkshakes. And I have gone for the red velvet milkshake and Grant has gone for the marshmallow Rice Krispie milkshake. I was absolutely defeated by this milkshake. It was pretty tasty. Half of my cake did blow away in the wind. You get exactly what you're asking for with this. It is very filling. I enjoyed it. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, but I'd probably only give it a 3 out of 5 because I wouldn't have it again personally. But there was nothing really wrong with it. But yes, portion sizes are so big here. So at your own peril, order a milkshake and finish it.
It's the rock shop. We've got t-shirt. Thank you. Hello. We've got Hard Rock Cafe Orlando. Orlando. A lot of Hard Rock Cafe Orlando t-shirts, jumpers. That's pretty much it. Got some pins.
Alright, yeah.
Limited edition Hard Rock Cafe one.
Okay.
Pins, t-shirts, they all just say Hard Rock Cafe Orlando.
Okay.
Jumpers, trousers, more t-shirts, jumpers, sunglasses, bags. Yeah, that's pretty much all that is.
It is our travel day. We are currently here at Orlando
Plaza Premium Lounge.
Yes. After a bit of a mare this morning, not gonna lie, or earlier this afternoon, we had a really smooth checkout from the hotel. We decided to play some air hockey. I love air hockey, even if I do need a little bit of extra support finding the puck sometimes. Grant and I are both very competitive. We both hate losing. Of course, I absolutely thrashed Grant, but I did let him get a couple of shots in, so he wasn't grumpy on the way home. And had just a jolly old time until it got to coming to the airport, and we found out that yesterday's BA flight was delayed, which means that we've now got lots and lots of new people on our flight, and we've had to queue for an hour and a half just to get our baggage done because the carousel was broken. They had to get all the other BA customers on the flight, and yeah.
They had the flights with the same numbers as well, so it was causing more confusion with the baggage, so that was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. But, you know, we're here now. But I do want to say, for my fellow disabled travellers, how fucking frustrating is it when TSA or any security staff talk about you, not to you? So we've just had the very best time here at Universal, where everybody speaks to me, speaks about my cane and my mobility aid and access needs directly. I get straight to TSA and they're like, hey, do you want to help her with her walker? And I'm like, I don't even have a walker, it's a cane. And just speaking directly to you the whole time, which really, really frustrates me. Like, I swear I did like major eye rolls at the people when they were doing it. And I thought, hey, this is TSA. I might get taken into prison if I do. gotta calm it down. But no, I think it is that reality is where you're in a hub of people that care deeply about accessibility, disability access, and then you step back into the real world. And then it's like, oh yeah, nobody actually gives a shit. It's kind of frustrating. I can't believe that our Orlando adventure has come to a close. We've had the very best time, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic.
And ultimately we would come back again. And I think we're going to try and encourage the whole family, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we'd encourage the whole family, but I would personally then like to look at doing different theme parks around the world, because I think Universal and that are very good, but after looking at like the Golden Ticket Awards, there's better ones out there, and I'm like, okay, cool. I want to go to them.
There's quite a few in Europe, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of European theme parks we need to go to.
Yeah, and we might even get the chance this year.
Yeah.
Currently in the Plaza Premium Lounge here in Florida. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. We really, really hope that you enjoyed our Universal vlog series. Please do hit subscribe because we've got plenty more travel content coming your way over the next few months. And really and truly, thank you for being a support to us, for liking and commenting and sharing the content on all the other social media platforms. But we're hoping to make some more YouTube going forward. So yeah, keep tuned. So Will, the bartender, has been absolutely phenomenal. He's made a rum punch cocktail, which I'm very much enjoying. We've had some pasta. We've had some. What did you have, Grant? Sorry.
It's like Cuban mince.
That was it.
Cuban ground beef, it was called.
It was very tasty. And then we decided to also load ourselves up on sugar. So we had some pound cake, so fluffy, so light, absolutely delicious. Some sugar cookies. But yes, I'm not going to lie, I'm definitely going to have at least one more cocktail before we get on our flight. And if you're a cocktail lover, let me know down below. If you're a sweet, sour, you like the dry, the smoky, what's your favourite cocktail? So a life tip, if you're in economy, go to the back of the plane because generally they have toilets, but also it means you have easy access to the bar. We've just had the service come round. Dale, our cabin crew steward, I think he's the head steward actually, they have just given us our drinks. So I've gone for Bailey's, and then I've got the sour cream and chai pretzels, but he described exactly where he was putting my drink, and he even offered to put my pretzels in my hand. So these are small touches like that that make travelling, especially by air, very accessible. Yay! Yay! We're home, puppy!
So we're here. I've got my one microphone. So we've got 10 questions, haven't we, that we're going to answer about our experience at Universal.
Yes.
So we'll keep it quite brief, but we'll go into a lot of detail about some because some need more detail. So question 1, what was it actually like navigating all 4 Universal Orlando parks as a blind guest?
Okay, so I thought that the accessibility and navigation could really be improved for blind guests. I was really impressed by the staff and how accessible they made the experience. And to be honest, if it wasn't for you, I think I'd get lost a lot quicker because there was nothing really for me to follow. I did try and use Soundscape and my talking cane, my WeWalk, and I still ended up in places I didn't want to be. So I'm not saying that I would be able to build a mental map of things over time, but for a blind guest that is maybe completely blind and traveling by themselves for the first time, or maybe has a blind partner or a blind friend they're going with, there's so much more that Universal could do to make it accessible to blind guests.
Yeah, I think like from my perspective, the app was great from a visual standpoint. I don't think you didn't really try and use the app because
it just
wasn't accessible. I don't know if they would offer to guide you around if you went by yourself. Not 100% sure, but I imagine that's why they give you like a carer's rate ticket or a carer's ticket. So you have to bring someone with you. Mm-hmm. But because they're so big and there's so many people, you're really going to struggle to get around by yourself if you're completely blind. If you're visually impaired, you might have more luck, but the signs aren't the best for some navigation purposes, and it was mostly relying on the app to figure out where you're going and which way to go. So I say that could definitely be improved. So they could do more for visually impaired people, and just navigation in general, like bigger signs and more obvious ways that you can get around, and like shortcuts. There was a few shortcuts that you could get across bridges and stuff, which if you're visually impaired, you're going to end up walking around the long way.
Yeah.
But it was good if you're with someone, but I think without someone, you would definitely struggle by yourself.
Were there any arrows on the floor or anything like that?
Not that I can remember.
So not even for anyone that didn't speak the language, for example, it didn't point you in direction. So again, it's not just because I'm blind, it's, you know, universally, is this accessible to everybody? And the answer is no.
Yeah, and you're going to struggle with like sounding off things because obviously you've got a lot of screaming, a lot of people talking. There's a lot going on, so you're not going to be able to figure out, oh, there's definitely a roller coaster over there because I can hear people screaming, but you're looking for the queue, which could be totally different.
Yeah.
Right. Question 2. How helpful were the Universal staff when it came to accessibility and disability accommodations?
The staff were a 10 out of 10 incredible. I could not fault them at all. Genuinely, that is what made the experience a big part of the fun for both of us.
Yeah.
Because not only were there's so many of them, so there were so many people dotted about that you could ask questions. They were so friendly, so kind. They had that American charm that people know and love. But it was everything from, please may I take your cane? Not a stick, not taking it out of my hands. Genuinely, would you like the ride to be slowed down for you? Can we offer you any visual description? There was so many. And then again, because of my disabilities that aren't seen, the fact that they were even accommodating for that. So we carried a big bag for medical lockers. So then they would literally point us to the medical lockers, but not just point us. They would actually say, okay, it's down the corridor on your left and then the second on the right. And then you're looking for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, the staff were so impeccable, from the customer service to the guest services to the hotel staff to the bus drivers to even the greeters. I couldn't fault a single person.
The character actors were very good. We only really interacted with them in Epic Universe, and they were quite fun. Like they didn't take it. They took it in their stride. They weren't like put off by it, so that was quite good.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that the character actors and the way that they interacted with me. Again, they stayed in character, but they were still accommodating. They still double checked my access needs. Yeah.
But yeah, they were very good, and I think there's nothing they can do to improve there.
No. And if we were to list everybody, we'd be here all day. But massive shout out to the Stardust Racers team, because
they were fantastic.
Everyone there that day was incredible. Might even just put it in a comment later down below as an actual thank you in case anybody from the team ever watches this. But we did go to customer services to actually put their names forward, didn't we?
Yeah.
Right at the end of our trip at Epic. So yes, we are so grateful, and thank you, Universal, for making it an epic experience.
3. What accommodations or accessibility services did you use during the trip, and were they worth it? So attraction assistance pass, queue accommodations, or did we use any audio assistance or guide services?
Yes. So we didn't know if they even offered any guide services, because if they had done
I would say the one time we asked for a Braille script for one of their attractions at the Epic Universe, the Isle of Berk one, they said that we weren't allowed to take a picture of it because it's copyrighted, and they never actually produced it. So very skeptical if it was even there.
To be fair, it does say online that they offer Braille and large print, and they were very excited when I said I'd like to see it, but it just never was produced. But I do think that the accommodations that we took specifically we used all the accessible entrances, and in Epic, I will say, it is built in from the ground up. So it's not always like you have to go around the back and you have to walk 20 miles in the opposite direction just to have the accessible entrance. Yeah, they've built it in.
They mostly use like the fast track, and then there's a little bit where they cut you out and you wait in a separate line for accessibility. So you get to the front quicker, but there's also a different queue, so you're not waiting in the main queue.
Yeah. So we did actually sign up for the Disabled Access Pass, but we were informed that the Express Pass is actually far more beneficial, even with people with disabilities, because the Express Pass is exactly what it says on the tin. It gets you there quicker. Whereas the Disability Access Pass, the way it works is you can turn up to the ride, and if it's a 2-hour wait, you don't get pushed to the front of the queue.
It's a virtual queue, essentially, isn't it?
Yes.
So, essentially, if it's a 2-hour wait, like you were saying, you would go up, register your interest, and then you'd get a notification in 2 hours that you can go and queue.
Yeah, which is great for people if they need to access the bathroom quickly, if they have, limiting mobility, which means they can't stand for very long. And for someone with me with arthritis, that actually worked really well. But we were very fortunate that practically every queue we stood in, apart from the Simpsons ride, literally we were there for about a maximum of 20 minutes, which is just upon my breaking point of where I can handle it.
Yeah, so the attraction assistance pass works. I think if you can't afford the Express Pass, because the Express Pass is expensive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I would say that is definitely worth it. But when we asked that we had the Express Pass, is it worth getting the Access Pass? And the guest services guy just said no. you might as well better off using the express pass for now, because it's not much quicker and you're going to be waiting around longer.
And the way they've changed the system as well is where before you would actually go to the back of each of the attractions to reach the accessible entrance, especially across the three main parks, excluding Epic. The way they've changed it now is that you have to stand in the queue or you do the virtual queuing. There isn't, you go through the back entrance anymore and you wait there for 10 minutes. You have to queue in the normal queue. So please be aware of that if you have mobility, accessibility needs in any way, shape or form, that the disability access pass is great. It's perfect for what it is, but it's also different to what it might have been if you've ever been before.
Okay, so 4. How do you experience rides as a blind person, especially rides that rely heavily on screens or visual storytelling?
I really love that this question was asked, right? Because the reality is, for me, as actually was really disappointed by the Harry Potter ride.
The Escape from Gringotts.
The Escape from Gringotts, because it was so screen-based.
The Battle of the Ministry was the same, though.
And the Battle of the Ministry at Epic Universe, they were very visual. Like, of course, they had the characters and they had the storytelling aspect, and Grant described everything to me fantastically.
Yeah, I think the theming was fantastic, but the actual ride itself was a bit meh. Bit lackluster.
Because, again, when we get back to the Escape from Gringotts, you and I were sitting next to each other, but the way that the carts were positioned, you were literally trying to scream audio descriptions to me, and I couldn't hear him because it was so loud, because it's meant to be immersive. So what I would really, really like to see, Universal, is that you do full audio description walkthroughs of a ride ahead of time, so a blind person can actually know what they're about to encounter. It also helps people with autism and any other neurodiversity. But then if the rides aren't violent and they're not really fast going, why can't we wear audio description headsets that you just play on a track so that we can have access to all the visuals and all the fun the way that a sighted person can? So
yeah, I think there must be a way to do it, even if it's to make it so like they're more secure. There must be a way to audio describe what's going on, and I think that's something that they're lacking.
Yeah.
I think it's been overlooked.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's really brought it up before, so
yeah.
we shall bring that up with them, because other than that, I just get a very hoarse voice shouting what's going on the rides. Okay, so we've got 5. What were your favourite rides across the 4 parks and why?
My absolute favourite ride across all the parks will always be Hagrid's, right? And it's called Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. And yes, it's because I'm a massive Harry Potter fan. The theming is incredible, but it's the way that it just immerses you completely, even as a blind person. My favourite is actually to be on the motorbike, genuinely, rather than in the cart, but we've done both.
Yeah.
And it is so fun. It's a lot faster than you would actually expect, even though it's a family fun ride, but I just love it. I could go on that ride all day long and never be bored. What about you?
My favourite was the Stardust Racers, the yellow side, I think this time. And then Velocicoaster is my second favourite, because like Islands Adventure Velocicoasters is very good. I do enjoy it. But my overall favourite was Stardust Racers on the yellow side this time.
Mm-hmm. And actually, we will say that we have done a video about our worst to best experiences of the roller coaster rides, which you can check out. But yeah, my top 3 are practically what you just said as well.
Yeah. Number 6, were there any rides or attractions that didn't work well from an accessibility perspective?
I think we've kind of touched on this, but I would say it's all the ones with the screens. Because, yeah, the Harry Potter stuff is... I'm a massive Harry Potter fan, if you didn't know that already. But if you did, then it's kind of disappointing. And the whole theming in the world, like, that's why it's called a theme park. Because you're immersed into the world, and they have done such a good job. But what they haven't done is included audio description and accessible infrastructure so that you can actually appreciate it. You either have to have a sighted person explain everything to you, or you just have to hope and pray that there's some sort of information out there on the internet. And I'll be honest, even Universal's website don't give you enough information. You can go on their blogs and you can read people's experiences, but it doesn't give you full detailed audio description.
No, I'd say the one that was the worst. We didn't go on it this time, but last time we went a couple of years ago, it was the Fast and the Furious one, the bus ride one. And it was terrible because like it didn't really move that much, and also it was just like really stupid. Like the story was stupid. I know it's Fast and the Furious, so it is generally stupid. But like the story was stupid, and it was really difficult to try and audio describe it. So
And they even said, sorry to interrupt, but they even said that they had audio description pamphlets to describe in large print and in braille. And when we asked for them, they didn't have them.
yeah, I think it's basically anything with too much visual stuff going on, not enough actual ride elements.
But that's why we're theme park junkies. We love the rides. We'll go on everything once, but we'll never go on them again if it's not a thrill ride that we don't love.
Yeah. 7. How do you and your sighted partner work together in a busy theme park environment? Do you use specific communication methods? How do you handle crowds, queues, or navigating quickly?
Hopefully you've watched this entire vlog series from start to finish, so you'll actually be able to see how we communicated. And a lot of it, as you'll notice, is Grant describing the world around us, because I don't have any visual input, and he does everything from guiding me, to guiding me through a crowd, to describing what the food is around us, to describing what the theming is, all the way through. So it becomes very exhausting, and you put that on a person for a 12-hour day at a theme park. No wonder this guy was absolutely pooped after every day. So
it's just a lot of like guiding and then getting people to get out of the way or tripping them up, basically. Because people don't, I mean, it's busy, but people don't pay attention at the best of times. So that's pretty, there's no like special communication methods. It's just about communicating and guiding properly or as effectively as you can. And obviously, as a couple, we've come up with our own, not a proper guiding method, but our own way of doing it. So that's pretty much it. We just guide, and then I describe stuff, what's most important that I think that Sassy will want to know of what's going on, and especially on the rides.
Yeah.
So 8, what misconceptions do people have about blind people going to theme parks or riding thrill rides?
I think there are some misconceptions, definitely, because when I tell people that I'm going to a theme park, they're shocked. Like, oh, why would you do that when you can't see where you're going? But even when I could see and I went to theme parks, I would close my eyes anyway. So I don't really get it.
I think like a lot of it is it takes off some of the dread, because you're like, if you're on a high bit and it's going to drop down, you don't know. So it's just like, woo, it's fun. So like most people just go for the feeling anyway. You're not going for the visual aspect of being thrown around a theme park. So
Although Universal, hands down, is absolutely incredible for its theming, especially Epic.
Yeah, the theming's great. And I think Epic did really well. And even like the Islands of Adventure, the theming is fantastic. Like all the zones have their own little bit. And I just think, I think they've done a very good job at all the theme parks. I think Studios is a bit hit and miss, like with the different areas. I feel like there's a lot of wasted space that I assume it's hiding the rides. But I think Studios was like my least favorite out of them all, but it was still very good. And I think that the theming is overall fantastic, and the stories for the rides are good as well. They put a lot of effort into the stories. But I think you go for the thrill, not for the scenery. Like that's why you're doing it.
And even if, as we've already said multiple times in this video, if they incorporated audio descriptions and visual guides and walkthroughs, it would make the experience even more accessible. So don't be thinking that blind people, A, don't want to do these sorts of things, and B, that we can't do these things, because we actually can. And I'm probably more thrill seeking than you are.
9, what practical tips would you give to other disabled or blind guests planning a Universal Orlando's trip?
Whew, I feel like this goes without being said, but plan ahead, know exactly what you want to do and when, on what days. And I know it takes some of the fun out of it, but if you are disabled, you have to pace yourself. You have to know what your limits are, and doing the research ahead of time of, okay, what's at Islands of Adventures, what rides would I like to go on, what cafes would I like to go and eat at. You have to structure the day, and we did that this time around, didn't we?
I think even for us, I would say like factor in break days. So like go to Islands of Adventure one day, have a day off where you can just recover, and then go to Universal, have a day off, and then go to Epic. If you can manage the extra days where you're not doing too much, because like we found 4 days of being banged around on different roller coasters like gave us massive headaches at the end of day 3. And it was a bit too much, but we did. I think it's more because we went to Epic Universe and went on Stardust Races like 6 times in a row. So it's our own fault, but
it is.
Take into account that you need a break day of occasion, and also plan to spend money on food, because it's expensive and it's good. So most of it was very good, but like some of the stuff inside the theme parks was just like okay quality. It wasn't fantastic, but either take food in with you, plan for that, or plan to spend a load of money on food.
And especially if you go to any of the restaurants, if you've never been to America before, the tipping culture. So
I would also point out, just to counter the tipping culture, inside the theme parks, a lot of it you could order from the app, so you didn't have to tip.
Yeah. So there's a tip there.
If you didn't,
if you use the app, you don't have to tip.
There was no option to tip on the app either, I would say. So if you're completely cashless and you think, well, I'm already paying like $15 for a slice of pizza in one of the cafes, and you don't want to spend any more on a tip, use the app. And the apps themselves are very good for a sighted person.
So I did use the app, and it was accessible, and I did enjoy it. It was more the virtual map of sort of getting around, where you use that and you utilize that a lot. That wasn't really accessible to me, but I could order on the app. I could place an order. I could look at timings. I could do a lot on the app. So thank you again, Universal, for making it accessible. But again, for me, as a blind person, if I'm using my phone all day, say for navigation, then using the app will also drain my battery.
Yeah.
So kind of the planning tips, again, go back to that, is make sure you obviously drink plenty of water. The water stations are free. So as long as you bring your own flask, the water stations are free. You can obviously pay for the sodas, which we did at Epic because we wanted to try all the different
flavors.
flavors.
Yeah, we want to try the themed ones for the different portals.
But we drank water every day because, again, America and Florida gets very, very hot. And we were only there in February and it wasn't that hot, but we still had hot days. Yeah. So definitely make sure you're hydrated and you take as many breaks as you can. You factor the breaks in. And yeah, the extra little tips of if you have medical equipment, there are medical lockers, which means you shouldn't have to pay for the lockers. But please, if you're not disabled and you don't need them, don't use this as a tip and a hack to be like, you get free lockers.
So the small lockers were free with your ticket. They had larger ones if you had a backpack on the outside of most of the rides, but you had to pay for those ones. Mm-hmm. But then there's medical lockers that we didn't realise until afterwards, so that we could put Sassy's cane and the bag in and everything.
And my medications
and
that was
medication,
carrying.
yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably actually write an entire blog about how to make the most of going to all 4 theme parks across, maybe a week, and what I would give, because there's probably a million things that we haven't mentioned right now.
But moving on. Number 10. Overall, did Universal Orlando make you feel included and able to fully enjoy the experience?
1,000,000%, absolutely. Of course, there are ways that they could improve, and we've already said that throughout. But for me, the staff went above and beyond. They made everything special. They made it as accessible as they possibly could. They spoke to me as a human. They spoke about my mobility aids with the right terminology. And they were just incredible people. Like, they just had a lot of fun. Like, we did speak to them, didn't we? And we said, do you enjoy this? And absolutely.
Yeah, because I think we spoke to them a bit about listening to the same audio thing over and over again and saying the same thing over and over again all day, especially when you're waiting in the line. So even with the express pass / accessibility, when they took us out the express lane to move us to the accessibility one as well, because they did do that for us on occasion. Mm-hmm. They were very open to conversation. They weren't sort of like standoffish. They were very fun to talk to, and it was interesting to learn more about them as people and how it works in the park. Of like, do they only work on one specific ride? Can they go on other rides if it's available? And all these little insider tips that you can have conversations with the members of staff and just get a bit more information, because like we said, they are there all day, every day. So it seems a bit boring for them, but it's exciting for us.
Yeah. And the fact that they still had all that energy, even at like 8 p.m. at night, and they were still there, just absolutely impressed us. We couldn't thank the staff enough. Every person we encountered across the whole parks.
It was very inclusive, and I think even though it was so big and we were so tired by the end of it, we still enjoyed it and we would go back, but you'd have to save up a small fortune. So we want to try different theme parks across Europe now. I think that's our next goal.
It is, yeah. We've been to 1 or 2 already, but we're going to a lot more. And watch this space for all the theme park vlogs that you've got coming your way. Let me show you our one and only souvenir that wasn't our ones. It is a little globe. It is the Universal globe, and it's in its own little spinning globe. So if you've ever seen like an actual globe and it sits in its little plinth, it does that. And you can use it as a keyring, but we just put it on our bedside table. 4 Universal parks, 6 days. Thank you so much for coming along on our adventure to Universal Orlando, Florida. We had the best time. We hope you've enjoyed yourself too. Please, please, please subscribe, because we have got way more travel vlogs coming your way. Thank you so much. We'll never forget this.